Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So, Yvette Cooper is at it again. The Home Secretary, who seems to be on a mission to revive the most draconian parts of British law, is now pushing to roll back the few sane steps that her predecessor, Suella Braverman, took to protect free speech. So if you thought being able to express an opinion without worrying about the police knocking at your door was a given, well, you need to think again. Cooper's rolling out the Thought Police and she's rebranding it as Public Safety. So over the weekend, Alison Pearson, a Telegraph journalist, got a surprise visit from the police, and this was on Remembrance Sunday, no less. This is over a deleted year-old post on X. The officers couldn't even tell her what she was being accused of. All they knew was that she might have committed a non-crime hate incident. So let that sink in. I mean, what the hell is a non-crime hate incident? That's the level of absurdity that we're dealing with at the moment. And it's exactly the kind of nonsense Cooper wants more of. If it's a non-crime, then why do you need the police at all to enforce non-crimes? Last time I checked, there were plenty of actual real non-crimes going on uninvestigated. But apparently the police now, they've got time to investigate non-crimes. So I'm sure Cooper will tell you this is all in the name of protecting communities and monitoring speech to prevent violence before it happens. Well, I mean, what she really means is not protecting, it's controlling. It's all about controlling communities and how they think. This isn't about keeping anyone safe. It's about controlling the narrative. The police are solving less than 15% of actual crimes in places like Essex. So while your car's being nicked or your house is being broken into, don't worry. At least the police are busy investigating deleted tweets and very, very serious thought crimes. But this isn't a two-way thing though, no. It only applies to you and me. They can still get away with anything they want. Remember this little speech?
That 99% of the meetings I go to, I'm the only non-white person in the room. But why are we so surprised when the most senior positions in Scotland are filled almost exclusively by those who are white? Take my portfolio alone. The Lord President, white. The Lord Justice Clerk, white. Every High Court judge, white. The Lord Advocate, white. The Solicitor General, white. The Chief Constable, white. Every Deputy Chief Constable, white. Every Assistant Chief Constable, white. The head of the Law Society, white. The head of the Faculty of Advocates, white. Every prison governor, white. And not just justice. The Chief Medical Officer, white. The Chief Nursing Officer, white. The Chief Veterinary Officer, white. The Chief Social Work Advisor, white. Almost every trade union in this country headed by people who are white. In the Scottish Government, every Director General is white. Every chair of every public body is white. That is not good enough.
A racist, vile rant from Humza Yousaf. But did anyone knock on his door? No, of course they didn't. It seems that didn't count as hate speech. The double standards here are sickening. Imagine someone else saying his speech but with a colour other than white. There'd be outrage, job losses and a guaranteed police visit. But if it's Yousaf or any other high profile figure with the right government message, it's swept under the rug as context. And Anas Sarwar, a Labour leader up north, he practically made the same speech as Yousaf.
Every chief executive of every council and every government department, white. Every director of a department in Scotland, white. Every principal of a college or university in Scotland, white. Every head teacher in Scotland, white. Every chair of a public sector body in Scotland, white. Every High Court judge in Scotland, white. Every prison governor in Scotland, white. Every editor of a news organisation in Scotland, white. Why?
No police inquiries, no knocks at his door, but if you want to express concern about uncontrolled immigration or cultural integration, you better be ready for the knock on the door from the Thought Police. It's this cherry picking that gets people's blood boiling. We're not talking about protecting communities here. We're talking about policing thought. But this is only when it suits the narrative. I mean, Cooper's push to re-expand the recording of non-crime hate incidents. It isn't about public safety at all. It's about making sure that certain views stay in the shadows while others are amplified. It's about making everyone think twice before voicing their opinion, an opinion that might not toe the government's line. So who picks and chooses what is hate speech anyway? I mean, who defines what hate speech actually is? I mean, they do, of course. It's the government. They make all the rules. They can say anything they like because they make up the rules. They choose what does and doesn't get enforced. And who pays the price for this kind of overreach? I mean, we do. The same people who see anti-Israel chants in the streets on a weekly basis, brushed off while journalists get investigated for vague, deleted posts. They want to stop us talking about things like immigration policies. They want to keep us all fearful and quiet. As long as we stay quiet, they can control us. They know that the sentiments towards immigration policies is changing. They know that the population is fast leaning towards a government-like reform, and they don't like it. They are scared. Just look at the progress that reform is making in the last few months. This is the real threat that they see, and this is the reason that Yvette Cooper wants to push for tougher measures on Fort. You can say what you want about Braverman, but I mean, at least she's had the common sense to see that recording every possible offending whisper was chilling free speech in this country. Cooper wants to be the queen of policing hurt feelings, and all this while Essex police, like so many other forces up and down the country, are solving a pitiful percentage of actual crimes. It's like having a fire department that shows up to critique your choice of curtains while your house is burning down. We've got enough problems in Britain: rising crime, fractured communities, and a collective distrust in our institutions. The last thing we need is to turn into a country where voicing an opinion risks a police visit. If we let Cooper push this through, that's exactly where we're headed. They call it progress, while freedom of speech gets chipped away at bit by bit, year after year. So here's the question: how long before we all start getting those knocks on the door for wrong think? And when that happens, who will stand up for us and say enough is enough? This nonsense has to stop, and it has to stop now. Thank you for watching the video. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.